Hello, everyone. Welcome to One Story. I will be having my guest resilience and self-advocacy in the face of cancer. Hi, how are you? Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. So I was just starting basically, you have been fighting two rare blood cancers for some time now. They're actually rare under the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma category. You have opted to fight this without any chemotherapy, without any radiation. Can you tell us a little bit of your journey? How were you diagnosed? When were you diagnosed? And where you currently stand today in your journey?
I found out in August of 2022. I crashed on my rollerblades and went to go get a massage, and I've gotten a lot of massages. And the massage therapist instructed me to get lumps in my neck checked out. And I was a bit adamant about it, but I went about and I did it anyway. And long story short, one thing led to another, needle biopsy with ultrasound, surgical biopsy, and then you have cancer. So when I started researching that I had a low grade B-cell lymphoma, and I'm reading through them, and there's so many different types of blood cancers, so many different types. And I think the first one that popped up, I looked at it and the word was really long, and I'm like, it's rare, and I go, I hope I don't have that one. And lo and behold, I do. So I have decided that after finding out that I have two different types of lymphomas, they're both non-Hodgkin's, as you mentioned, that I don't want to do chemotherapy and I don't want to do any of that. I just want to continue to live my life and try to live my life to the best of my ability for as long as I possibly can, and hopefully just fight this on a natural aspect.
Yeah. When people get diagnosed with different disorders or, cancers or any sicknesses, I feel like it usually comes with an action plan, right? Like the doctor doesn't just tell you have something and that's it, right? They say, now we're going to do A, B, and C. For me specifically, I understand, and I think everybody understands, like, these are your options and it's up to you to say yes or no. But I think a lot of us kind of just go with the standard protocol of what the healthcare system, gives us or tells us to do. And for me, and I have quite a few friends that we did do chemotherapy, then radiation, or vice versa, even surgery, because that's what we were told, and that's the question that was asked. Some of those, it was a very hard decision. You actually said to a doctor, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing chemotherapy. I'm not doing radiation. And you even refuse the biopsy, right? We talked about that. Tell me a little bit of, it had to be such a hard decision. Tell me a little bit of how you came up with that conclusion or deciding just not to do it. And how has that affected what you are doing? Like, what action plan are you doing for yourself then?
I am trying to eat cleaner than I have been eating in the past. I'm staying active. And the first oncologist that I had seen had said that the reason why it probably wasn't discovered for so many years is because I was active. So I just don't want to fall out of movement. I don't want to stop being me, because I feel like if I allow the knowledge of what I have to stop me from doing what I love doing, then I'm going to stop. And I don't want that to happen. So that for me, like, that's the fight in me, is to just keep living the way I have been living and not adhere to any kind of like Western medicine.
Yeah. I think, well, it was really good that you actually, like you said, you researched it and you're like, I think I can go ahead and do this plan, right? Like, you just didn't just say, I'm just going to ignore the whole thing. You actually have a plan. It's not the doctor's plans, but it's your plan. We both agree that advocating for yourself is very important, right? You're constantly going to doctors, because even though you said, I'm not doing the biopsy, like, it does sound like if something's wrong, you go to the doctor, you try to get it checked out, you try to figure out what's going on. So you're still seeing doctors. And when we go to the doctors, you have to speak for yourself. A lot of people talk about a strong support system. You personally, I know you haven't really had a lot of a support group, right? Or a support system. You have been to those appointments by yourself and asking the hard questions when a lot of us, maybe have had somebody that has asked that for us or has at least been there to comfort us. So advocating for yourself, it's been very, it's very important. But for you specifically, you have done a great job because it's really just been all on you. And then that said, we talk about the healthcare system that they tell you an action plan, they tell you, to make a decision, but also behind that, there's like a big system, right? There's of what the doctors would want to tell you, or what they want, but then there's the insurances, there's approvals. I've personally been having, I've had denials, and that kind of prolonged me even getting diagnosed because it took months for them to be like, well, you need this test, you need the other test. I've had surgeries where they're like, well, before you even have surgery, you need to go through these steps. So the healthcare system, there's protocols and things like that. Tell me a little bit of how advocating for yourself in this healthcare system has been for you, because there's steps, right, to doing certain things. And there's certain things that you do want, right, from the healthcare system, or there is things that you might want assistance with, or like might want to just even do a test. But since you denied doing other things, have you seen any challenges or obstacles while you're advocating, like in the healthcare system?
With state care that I have for insurance, if I do not over a certain amount of time adhere to their standards of what treatment is, then they won't cover me. So I won't be able to go to a doctor or get a PET scan or get any kind of further treatment per the, insurance company.
Yeah, it's crazy how they want certain things to be done. And you mentioned that you went for a massage, right? And you're like, something's not right. And you went and got checked out and, told us a little bit about the story. For me personally, I've been to the hospital many times, right? And there's times that I've felt really, really bad, but I still said, you know what, this is not an emergency, right? This is my new normal. My heart rate is still super high. This morning it was like a 150, right? I woke up, it's 150, but that's my new normal, right? So now I understand how important it is to know your body, right? You have to know your body, but it takes time. How has knowing your body helped you? Because especially since you're not doing treatment, how do you know, like, this is an emergency, this is not, are you pretty much have a system down to like knowing what your normal body is, or your normal, sicknesses or side effects are?
Well, I think for so long, I've been feeling symptoms. So I thought that I was normal and thought that I was healthy.
Yeah.
So it really hasn't impacted me that much. Just if I fall and break a limb, I'm going to go to the hospital, but I don't do checkups. I am, because of the cancer, I actually have an appointment in Boston on Monday. So I'm driving down there to see them and see where I am. But I had my second PET scan 17 months later, and they said that the cancer hadn't moved. So it hadn't shrunk and it hadn't grown. So whatever I have been doing has been okay, I guess.
Yes. And honestly, that's still great news. For me, I think that's really great news. So your page at Hiking Lymphoma 77. Your page is definitely different than other pages I've seen. I think a lot, there's a lot of profiles out there that, we share a little bit of our cancer journeys just because, we definitely want to spread awareness. Your page is so unique. I love it because you still mention here and there that, you have non-Hodgkin's, and then kind of are open about like just showing where in your body. So, but you keep showing us that drive, that passion, like you said, I'm still keeping active. You know, I'm still doing all the right things that I think are keeping this cancer from not growing. And you've actually shared your trails. You've shared pictures of you going outside in freezing snow. I don't know how you do it. um,
Layers.
yeah, so um, I, I just made it to the snow the other day, but we didn't last long in there. But all of that being said, I think I take from your page that you feel very strongly about physical activity and movement, right? Um, so tell me, how do you maintain that? Like maintain that energy, or maybe you have hard days. I know you have hard days, but I still see you going out there every single day. How do you do it? How do you push yourself or motivate yourself to stay active when you don't feel good, especially when you said you've been not feeling well for a long time? How do you do it?
It's like, you know, working out, and I'm my own cheerleader. So, I'm basically like, come on, Kara, you can do this. Just push, just do it. And like get up to that summit or get to that overlook and do the 3 miles or do the 5 miles, because it's only 5 miles. It's only 6 miles. Like, to me, it's just, I got to do it.
Yeah. And I feel the same way about a lot of things. I I think now it's just to the point that what helps me is like I just don't even think about it. Just, I get up just like I would take my vitamin that day, or just like I'm a mother, so it's like just like I'm so tired, but I have to get up because he's depending on me. I feel
Yeah.
like my body depends on me moving. When I've been in the hospital, you know, after a few days, it's like, okay, I got to just move my feet, And I've been there because my heart rate is constantly high. So they're always monitoring you, right? So as soon as I stand up, I have POTS and, tachycardia and all of that. So when you're in the hospital, they monitor you like crazy. And so they rush in the room when you're standing and things like that. So I've always been very strong about, well, at least let me just move my arms, let me just move my feet, because I think movement keeps feeding and nourishing your body. So I definitely agree. Just gotta do it. Um, so not everyone is in the position to maybe work out. I've been that person. And even when I tried my cardiologist, like, no, my oncologist, like, you got to stop the treadmill. You got to stop what you're doing, at least for some time. So there's people right now that are not in any position to work out, or, just to be active at all. But we can agree that we all have to nourish our body, correct? So for me, I'm a very strong believer. If you can't do anything else, at least what you're putting into your body. Like, let's try to feed ourselves the best as possible. You used to be a chef, correct?
I was a cook, yeah.
Yes. And as someone that, used to be around food all the time, and I'm sure you have a lot of knowledge about food and nutrition, compared to somebody else, how has that influenced you to how you're approaching like your diet now, and how to like help it, not feed the cancer?
Um, well, for about 20 years, I only eat organic and I eat vegan for the most part. I do kind of like eat cheese every so often, but a lot actually. um, I just try to maintain that organic mindset and keeping things in my body that are fresh and natural. And when I cooked, not a lot of things were organic. So I know like what the healthy things in are to put in your body, and then the things that I'd rather not have in my body.
Yeah.
So, and then, with the knowledge of cancer, also, I love sugar. I love cake and
Ooh.
cookies and stuff like that. And knowing that, you really shouldn't eat that kind of stuff, because the cancer does feed on the sugar. But I do love it. Like, I just heard the oven go off. I made banana muffins. They're vegan, but I put like way less sugar in there and added some maple syrup for sweetening instead.
Right. I think for me, it's not easy for sure. I think I try to eat healthy as well. Like, you try to do the organic. Even my husband husband, he tells me like when I'm going to go to the doctor, and like I think yesterday I went to 3 different appointments, right? And my husband tells me, okay, if you have to eat out, try to order this thing from this one place. Like he's so concerned about it. And it's true because you know what? The other day me and my husband had like a little, morning breakfast, and I look at the whole menu and I have to choose. Like it would be so easy for me to be like, well, I'm out. There's nothing else I can eat. No, there is, right? Like you can make the smarter decisions. I'm like, well, I know that I don't do well with gluten, right? That's something new that I discovered. And everything has gluten, so it's very hard and difficult to find things. But I asked, and they're like, yeah, we actually have a menu. And I'm like, well, next time. I already had ordered. But I think I agree with you. Like you just have to try your best. But I also do the banana bread, and I use personally monk fruit here and there. And my husband's like, don't worry about it. Like it's not, the same as sugar. But I still, in my head, subconsciously, I'm like, I really, there's nothing that says this is right or this is wrong. Like it's just, you try to not have sugar, right? At the end of the day, maybe that is helping, maybe that isn't helping. But for me, I still use moderation, whether even if it's something healthy. Just one little thing more. I like avocados, right? And they tell me avocados is healthy. I think we can all agree avocados is known to be healthy. Well, I had a lot of blood work. I mean, a lot of blood work. And it turns out some of the things that's in the rich in flavor of and nutrients in the avocado, I was really high, you know? And so they told me for at least 2 months, no avocados, you know? So yes, everybody will say it's healthy and great, but I know myself and the tests show, for now, I need to balance my body out. So don't just always assume that just because something's healthy, it's actually even healthy for you at the moment, you know? Um, but, you say you focus on staying active, right? You try to eat healthy. But I also know that you are very big on toxic-free living, right?
I try. Yeah.
Toxic-free living, yeah. I also feel strongly about the toxic-free living. Part of the blood work that I did, my toxicity level in my blood, in my system, was very critical, to be honest. It was crazy. But I've had multiple surgeries. I've had multiple things in the past, procedures that actually, had not the best, obviously, ingredients, or, however you want to discuss it, that probably contributed to the toxicity in my system, right? So it wasn't just, the food or things like that, but it definitely was, I was getting injected with like a bunch of things that contributed to the toxicity. So we try at our house to just be as clean as possible, right? We make our own laundry soap, we make our own hand soap. I think people would think that's like super crazy or out there. But if you're able to do it, why not, right? So I know that you kind of think about it a little bit the same about toxic free living. How do you incorporate like the philosophy, right? Toxic free living. Like what does that look like for you? What does that look like for you every day? How do you incorporate it into your life? Or what have you done?
It's been so long because I've been doing it like 20 years or so. I don't use plastics. I don't use Ziploc bags. Trying to think of other things like recycling, composting, all of shampoos and conditioners are all natural. Lotions are all natural. I don't wear perfumes. I don't wash my clothes, obviously, in chemicals and dishes and any of that. So it's kind of been a mindset in my life for a while. So when I found out that I had cancer, I was like, I've been doing all this work. Like, why? But, I haven't really changed anything as far as that. I just keep going with the flow, and I don't store my food in plastics. I drink from a Brita bottle, which is, stainless steel, and I've got my Stanley coffee cup that I've been using for years. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, the knowledge of, I don't know, I guess not being a sheep. you know, not following the herd to the grocery store and buying everything that everybody else is buying because it's there. So it's just a matter of making the choices to not get the things that have the toxicities in them for all of us.
Yeah. Do you make a lot, like, do you make a lot of your own things? Like, but you know, like for us, I think when people think, oh, I make my own things, they're like, how are you even doing it? I'm like, no, there's still like, I have to buy a normal, you know, toxic free, like the cleanest ingredient soap, and then get, you know, even my scents that are, you know, clean ingredients, and then mix it together. So it's not like I'm just doing it out of nowhere. I think people think sometimes they're like, how are they doing it? Well, no, you still buy things
Yeah.
to make things together, you know, to make those products. Like, do you make a lot of it, or do you just choose to buy the cleanest ingredients as possible,
I
or
just
do you
buy
kind of make your own stuff?
this stuff, or I support a lot of local businesses. So there's so many farms in the area, and they'll make their own things. And I try to just support people because I could take the time and do all that stuff as if I want. Also, I just choose to help other people too.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we do as well. It's I like doing my own laundry soap. I don't know why. It's like
It's like having a
um
garden. It's fulfilling.
yes, you know what? I would love to have a garden. The only thing is like I'm in the desert, and I'm in Nevada. So everything is like it's either really, really cold in the morning, or then it's really, really hot at times. So there's only certain things that you can grow. And I'm sure there's places out here that they do it, but um our house, you know, there's not a big land, but that's definitely something I would, what is it, aspire and dream to have. Like I'm like, I want to have my own like vegetables, because I, you know, I am that person that gets the fruits and I'm like, don't eat them, I gotta clean them, hold on, don't get them, like don't touch them. So I am that person. So I feel like if I had my own garden, I'll be like, I know what went on them, I know, you know, the love and care and no toxins on it. But because I have a little one, I am a little paranoid. So um, and whoever's watching, you know, start small. Just start small. I think we see profiles out there that say toxic free living, and I mean, they're living off the grid. Like, it doesn't have to look like that. Like, toxic free living can just be, you know,
I started
off,
with toothpaste. I
yeah,
started with toothpaste and laundry detergent and
yeah,
dish soap. And then it went to hand soap. And then it just
yeah.
kind of grew from there when you realize like, hey, that's kind of nice. I like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think some people are hesitant because they're like, you know, the price difference or the price change. But like you said, there's local people that are maybe just nearby, maybe even just your farmer's market that,
Hmm.
you know, it wouldn't be outrageous. But yeah, if you're Googling it, or, you know, Amazon, like you have to do research as well. Like, you know, there is options out there. Um, well, I just love talking to you today. I wanted people just to
Thank
get
you.
to know you a little bit and just hear a little bit about your story. I definitely thought it was very unique that you are fighting this, you're living life, you know, you're trying your best. I really admire that, because I feel that as well. Like, I want more people to know that, um, yes, you're giving a diagnosis, yes, you're told what's wrong with you, but you're still alive, you're still, you know, have options. It's not just what your doctor told you, it's not just what Google tells you about, you know. I think Google is very quick to tell you how long you're going to live when, you know, something is wrong, or like what's the worst case scenario. And sometimes, you know, we let fear take over us. So your profile and you saying, you know what, I understand what I have, I understand what you're telling me. I think you told me that the doctors probably were not very happy, right? When, or kind of,
I get treated differently for sure. Like I'm going to Boston. I am meeting with the head of the Dana-Farber Foundation. He works for 90% of my cancer is Waldenstroms macroglobulinemia, and he is like the head specialist there for that cancer. And I'm going there to see him, and I know he's going to be like, "Well, I know you don't want
yeah,
treatment, but you know, we'll just watch and wait because it's a watch and wait cancer. Wait until it gets worse before we treat you." So I'm treating now.
exactly. And that's why I wanted you to come on here, because I mean, there's worst case out there, right? There's a definitely, there's always worse things that could be out there. But whatever the situation is, you know, keep fighting, keep trying, right? Like my husband loves one doctor. Well, he really likes the doctor, right? Because he gives me other options, not just A, B, and C, not just medicine, not just, things like that. He's like, well, um, do you have compression socks? Have you tried that? Have you, for me, I have extreme low blood pressure. Like I'm at the max medication that I can be given 3 times a day to increase it. And honestly, I've been to the hospital many times. And so as much as I would want to remove that medication from my plan, that's something that I'm like, I'm going to do it because I can't keep having 70, be having my blood pressure at 70 where I'm fainting and passing out. And, if the blood flow is not going correctly, like moving properly, it can affect my organs down the road. So that's something that I'm like, okay, I'll continue doing that. But this doctor tells me, well, have some salt. Have you tried just snacking on peanuts? Like, have you tried, stay hydrated? Like, he gives me all these other options. Even the compression socks, he's like, how are those going? And I'm just like, well, I don't know. And he's like, well, have you fainted? I'm like, no. And he's like, they're working. So I love that there's still people out there and doctors and just even our peers that try to give you other options to live life, without putting more toxins to your body, without destroying your body. Chemo was something I don't ever regret the chemo. I do regret radiation since, let's be honest, right? We're sharing here. The chemo, I was in the hospital. I thought I was dying. I was there for a month, right? Oxygen, multiple blood clots. I had veins popping out. So about 14 centimeters on my heart. My whole arm was swollen, so they had to start immediately. So I don't regret it, right? But the radiation, that's something that, I could have processed a little bit different, take me my time. And that's why, I'm glad that you're here because you're showing, we don't know what the future holds for you, right? You might change your mind later on the road when you see the specialist, who knows? But no matter what you choose to do, medication wise or not, I know that you're going to still keep being active. You're still going to keep showing us that beautiful snow. You're still going to keep showing us your dogs. And, you're still going to be trying your best on your own, right? No matter if somebody else is helping you or not, like you're still going to be doing the best that you can. So thank you for sharing that on your page. And thank you for being here today and showing that. And
thank you.
Before I let you go, is there anything that you want to say to anybody that's listening today?
Pay attention to your body. Like the lumps in my neck they've been there a very, very long time. And I just thought it was normal. I thought it was because I was active, but there's quite a few. Like you can see, I think, over here, they're very faint, kind of sticking out. But when I was heavier, you couldn't see them. And now you can see them. I can feel them. Just, it's the swollen lymph nodes. And just pay attention to them. Pay attention to your body. If something doesn't feel right, or if a doctor tells you that something's not right, and something in your gut tells you, or a doctor tells you it's fine, and something in your gut says maybe it's not, then go with your gut and go ask somebody else, because that somebody else has a different perspective. So just, always, like we had mentioned, advocate for yourself. Yeah. If something doesn't feel right for you, then go get a second opinion. Go get a third opinion, because I've seen 4 oncologists.
For sure. I completely agree with that. Just keep searching for answers. Do your best while those answers are, pending out there. Definitely advocate for yourself. And just thank you, everybody who's watching this today or that's going to be watching it once we post it. And for you, just thank you, Carrie, for being here today. And I pray that God just continues to give you strength, resilience, and health that keeps moving you forward.
Thank you so much.
Have a blessed day, everyone. I love you. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.